Hey everybody. I don't know if it's too soon to say happy fall, but I think we're getting pretty close to that. Everybody's starting to plan for holiday sales and all sorts of great things. And of course, as we're starting to roll things out, all sorts of new things get thrown in our way when it comes to how we can run our ads on different platforms like Google, for example. So you've got Will, John, and Becky here to talk with you about all things Google as always. Today, I thought we could kind of focus our topic on something that a lot of businesses, individuals, entrepreneurs are really talking about when it comes to their Google Ads, and that's business verification. We kind of have seen that already, and we've gone through it a little bit with Microsoft, right? They kind of gave us that precursor to all things verification, and now Google is definitely rolling into it, whether it's advertiser verification or business operations verification. Lots of people are being asked to complete this step as a part of their advertising journey with Google. So, we're seeing it on suspension side. Sometimes you have to go through a verification process in order to get unsuspended. And then we see it for our ongoing management clients and leads that are coming in and asking questions about it, even if they're not working with us yet, because everybody is always very timid when it comes to completing anything like that with Google, and they want to be sure they're doing it right. I think I'll start with you, Will. I know you've completed both advertiser verification and business operations verification for several of our active clients. So what are you seeing as really important things to remember or point out during those processes?
The advertiser verification specifically can be pretty straightforward. All you're really looking to do is verifying your business is legitimate and you are the person that you say you are connected to that business. So Google has a list of a few different documents that they accept, which is helpful, but sometimes getting your hands on one of those specific documents can be a little bit harder depending on what type of business that you're in. So they accept typically business registration, so articles of incorporation, things like that. Typically any letter that's stamped from the IRS that's going to show your EIN, a few different other documents. So you want that document, and then you need to have the ID, typically a driver's license or something like that. Also a passport would be accepted for the person that's on that business document that you're sending to Google. So typically if you have those documents, it's pretty straightforward and verification can happen sometimes almost instantly. But typically just getting your hands on those, submitting them, if making sure that the visuals, they're all good, high resolution photos or scans. It can be pretty straightforward if you have all of those, but if you don't, it can take a little bit of work to get your hands on the right thing. So we're happy to help you work through that and make sure you get your hands on those and give Google the information that they need to get that pushed through.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's important, and I don't know if either of you have seen this come across, but normally when we're looking at Google Ads accounts and then Google My Business accounts, we don't worry too much about the connection between the two unless the client we're working with is running local service ads or Google Guarantee. In your experience, are you guys seeing anything happen where it's important to make sure that we have Google My Business aligned with a paid ad account, for example, before or during completing advertiser verification?
I haven't seen that be necessary related to advertiser verification. No. Obviously it's helpful to link up just from a performance perspective for your ads, especially if you're doing local marketing. But from an advertiser verification perspective, what Google seems to be focused on, like Will mentioned, is the business documentation and the photo ID. Now, I'm seeing some interesting things that we're helping some of our clients navigate through. So for example, Google doesn't like it when you have your business registered in one country, but your photo ID is from a different country. So let's say, for example, you're a US citizen, you've got a US passport and driver's license, but you have a business that you've registered in the UK. That's confusing Google's system. And so that's something that we're helping clients navigate through right now to try and get Google what they want to see. And sometimes it may require changing the payment profile for the account, registering it in a different country. There's a couple different approaches that we're taking right now, but that's going kind of hot button that I'm seeing. And there's been some changes, I think, even this week in terms of how Google is enforcing that. I've also seen some interesting glitches for situations where, let's say, an agency is paying ad spend to Google on behalf of a client. So for example, for Stub Group, in some situations, we are paying ad spend to Google on behalf of our clients. Our clients obviously are reimbursing that ad spend to us. And we've had a couple situations where we've gone through the process on the client's behalf of going through advertiser verification from kind of the Google Ads Manager account level. And Google has said that we have verified things in one place, but in another place, they are saying that verification has not taken place and the ads are still remaining paused. And so we're kind of working through that glitch. In some cases, there's kind of a workaround where we can have Google send an email to the client and give them the ability to upload some documentation to Google, and that seems to be working better, at least right now. So yeah, some weird glitches that we are working through. And on the suspension side of things, of course, if you're an advertiser who has a suspended account, earlier this week, depending on when you watch this video, but recently compared to when we record this, Google sent out an email saying that as of October, many advertisers who have suspended accounts are going to have to go through advertiser verification before they can get unsuspended. And I made a separate video about that you can watch with some more information and context about that, but just something to be aware of if you're watching this and you have a suspended Google Ads account.
Yeah, and I know from the Google compliance side, that's something that our compliance team has been doing for a while now with any of the suspensions that we're helping clients out with. And it has been beneficial. People have been able to get unsuspended after we've completed those verification processes with them. So I think it's a good idea that they're telling everybody that now. It's nice to have a little clarity in what that process might need to be like. Doesn't always work, but hopefully it's a good start for a lot of people. The other thing that's really important about this whole wave of advertiser verification that people are being asked to do is that they also understand that advertiser verification is not the same thing as business operations verification. So why don't you guys kind of fill everybody in on the difference specifically in how much more complicated the second is versus just the plain advertiser verification request from Google.
Yeah, people do get confused a lot because they're similar but not. So advertiser verification is kind of the first step, and many accounts only need to go through advertiser verification. So once they've gone through it, and again, that's uploading business documentation and photo ID, then they're good to go. But then for some accounts, Google requires a next step. And generally it's for accounts where they're in more, quote unquote, sensitive verticals, or some of the different specific business models that they've selected that need to go through this. And so when they say you have to go through business operations verification, it's a much more intensive process where you have to answer question after question after question in this big long form that Google has. We also made a separate video about that you can watch that goes more into detail into how to go through that. But basically you have to give a lot more information to Google about your business, upload additional documentation, and prove to Google that your business model is legitimate, and essentially prove that you are providing the products or services to your customers that you are claiming you do in your Google Ads. So you'll know whether or not you need to go through business operations verification after you go through advertiser verification, because Google will say, hey, there's another step, you need to do this. And then you need to go through those steps. So I think what I would say, probably to summarize where things are at with advertiser verification and business operations verification right now, is if you've already gone through it, awesome, you're good to go. You shouldn't have to worry about it anymore. If you have not gone through it yet, and you do not have a suspended account, you should go through it if it's an option in your account. In most accounts at this point, it's an option to go through proactively, even if Google is not requiring it for you yet. And you can find it in your Google Ads account under the Advertiser Verification tab. So if you haven't done it yet, go ahead and just knock it out, get it done with, would be my recommendation. And if you have a suspended account, very much you should go through advertiser verification if you have not already, because it's going to help prove your legitimacy to Google. It's not necessarily going to fix the problem. You still have to fix the root problem that caused the suspension, but it's a helpful step in the process of getting Google to review and accept your appeal.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that helps people who are getting a little bit nervous when they get that email from Google that says you must complete this step. And I think y'all gave them some really good advice on what they could do moving forward. So great chatting with both of you about advertiser verification and business operations verification today. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates and information like this. Take care.